Yes, West Smoke Boy.
That shit take me way back. Talk that shit like say that.
Welcome everybody to TruExact Show. I'm here with Brian, and we're joined back by a friend of the show, Bill Oakley. How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm great. I'm excited to be back here. And also let me add that I love the shirt that you guys sent me, and I walk around Portland wearing it all the time. So anybody who sees that TruExact shirt knows that it's probably me. I don't think there's too many other TruExact shirts here in Portland. So thank you.
I might have to send you out some hats then, and you could just
nice
out on the streets.
Give out hats.
Yeah. All right. So, Bill, last time we talked about the Simpsons with you, but we're going to go a different route. We're actually going to talk about your STEAMIE Awards and the 2021 STEAMIE Awards, and you know, what you picked, how you pick them, the categories you choose. But first, for our audience, I want you to explain what the STEAMIE Awards are and how you started doing them.
Yes, I want to make there's got to be a little context here. Okay, so I still have my career being a TV writer and showrunner, by the way. This is my hobby. So I do this for fun, and basically for about 4 years now, I have been reviewing food on Instagram. My Instagram account, if you want to check it out, is that Bill Oakley. And I make somewhat amusing videos. They're only 59 seconds long, about fast food items. And I also post about other items, about condiments, frozen pizzas, cheese puffs, international stuff. And people send me stuff from all over the world. If you're watching the video, you might be able to see a lot of it behind me here. I haven't gotten to it yet. So I'm kind of a food critic of, I guess I would say comfort food is probably the broadest category. And what happens is at the end of the year, I have an award show called the STEAMIES, and it's named after STEAMEDHAMS, which I wrote, obviously, that cross promotes those two things. And we give it 10 awards, and it's like an award show. It's kind of like a parody of a 70s or 80s award show, like at the Oscars or whatever. And we have celebrity presenters. There's a lot of music. I wear a tuxedo in my car in the driveway, and it's a lot of fun. And this year we actually had more celebrities than ever. And it was a pretty glamorous occasion. And in fact, now we have outstripped the Golden Globes, because the Golden Globes didn't have anything this year. Right. And we did it. We had a far more star-studded event that was far more entertaining than theirs. So now we've risen up in the ranks of the award shows.
So next you just got to get Ricky Gervais on to talk shit about every food critic for the next show.
That's an excellent idea for next year. Excellent idea.
It'd be absolutely phenomenal. So now, last time we talked, I remember you mentioned that you grew up in an area that didn't really have a lot of fast food to go to. So when you moved out to like Portland or traveled the country, is that like where you developed your taste for it and wanted to do something like this?
Yes. Well, I had a taste for it. I just didn't get it. Like when I was a little kid, a long time ago, there weren't nearly as many fast food restaurants just in general. And also, I lived out in the country. So for a huge treat for your birthday, because you'd always see commercials on TV for McDonald's, McDonaldland cookies and the Grimace and all that crap. And I never got it. So for like a treat for my birthday, my parents would drive me to Baltimore or Washington, D.C., 60 miles away to go to McDonald's. So I loved it. Of course, I loved it. And even as I grew up, I still never lived all that close to any fast food restaurants. So I was always a huge treat. Yes, when I go on vacation, especially when I go on vacation to the South, once in a while, I go to every fast food restaurant I can find. And I do, it's definitely an interest of mine. And, you know, I eat this kind of, it's not like I'm doing it for funsies, and I don't do that. I eat this kind of stuff. I eat frozen pizzas, I eat cheese puffs, and I would be eating those anyway. But I also get a kick out of turning other people on to the things I found.
Yeah, and it's really cool because you find hidden gems, and we will get to that, especially the 7-Eleven sub. Because like,
yes.
I think that some of the best things, and I know you might not agree with us, I personally have not had a wing better than Applebee's in my lifetime. Now, people might think that's crazy, but I think I've developed the taste for fake type food.
It's pretty ridiculous.
Yeah, so when I have real good wings, they don't sit with my stomach. So I think it's just plastered with heat-lamped Applebee's wings at this. So how do you pick the categories, though? And how do you narrow them down to, like, 10 categories, where I'm sure there's like 20 different types you start with?
Yeah, you're right. I do. And what happens is I put the categories that don't fit in the show, I put them on my Instagram story the week before. So like, Instagram story is just generally photos, in my case. And so a lot of times I have 20 categories, and the 10 that didn't fit on the show go on my Instagram story. And those this year were things like barbecue sauce of the year, things like that didn't quite fit in the regular show. What I tried to figure out was, what I do is I just kind of make a list. I kind of make a list of everything I had. And then I'm like, do I have three good ones for any of these categories? And also, will this be fun to watch? like this year we had a number. There's some categories we have every year, which are the fast food categories. We have a couple of fast food categories. We always have a condiment category. We always have disappointment of the year presented by the Doughboys. And then we always have, then the other ones are kind of fungible depending on what I ate. And this year we had I added a couple of different mail order categories because I ate a ton of food that was mailed to me from various places that I ordered mainly from various places around the country. And also cheese puffs. I ate so many cheese puffs this year that I had a category just for cheese puff of the year.
So Brian, you could jump in any time if you want.
Oh yeah. I was just, I was very blown away by the people that you had on. Like before you came on, me and Scott were talking about how you got, I brought up, I was like, I can't believe you got the guy who's playing Commissioner Gordon in the new Batman movie. This
year we definitely had we had bigger celebrities than ever before. And it's basically, I will tell you that what happens is it's either people I know a couple of them are people I know personally, but in general, it's people who follow me on Twitter for one reason or another. People like Jesus Nice and Jeffrey Wright and Jake Capper all follow me on Twitter, probably because there's Jeffrey Wright. You're asking about him. He was the biggest celebrity probably we ever had. He was 2 years ahead of me in high school. And for whatever reason, he follows me on Twitter, and I asked him, and he was willing to do it. Like some years he didn't respond at all. This year he did. And so basically it's every one of these people is recruited by a direct message sent on Twitter. And a lot of times people don't read their direct messages. I've discovered, this is interesting. You'll notice that I have a large number of men and very few ladies on the show. And I've just asked people around, it's like a lot of ladies, many ladies, don't even look at their DMs on Twitter because they're filled with dick pics. So I have not gotten a lot of ladies, despite my best efforts. And I generally tend to get guys who are Simpsons fans because they follow me in general. And then like Jake Tapper, for instance, from CNN, and they follow me and then they're kind of interested in participating. And then also sometimes I find people like, I find comedians that I like, or in this case also, honestly, I was thrilled to get the guy. I love Better Call Saul. It's my favorite show. The guy who plays the character named Bill Oakley on that show. I couldn't think of a more perfect person to have, and he was so good.
Just to touch on too, you say women keep their DMs off because that's all they get. I also only get those type of pics, so that's why I have my DMs off as well. So
I have my DMs off as well. I have had them off for years. There's nothing to be gained from DMs on Twitter. I mean, I do have DMs on Instagram because that's how I get all this food, but I don't have them on Twitter for just that reason.
I'm also kidding. I don't get any of those pictures. So
I don't get pictures, but I do get a lot of people wanting jobs.
Now, I do want to touch on a few things because obviously we can't touch on every food you've eaten the past year. God knows how much you've touched. But the surprising sandwich of the year. How did you come across that one with the 7-Eleven turkey sub one?
Well, I read about here's the thing. I read a number of, there must be 7 or 8 sites that are about the food business, the fast food business or the convenience food business. And I think I read somewhere 7-Eleven was going to introduce this sub. And sometimes it's very hard to find stuff at 7-Eleven, but this time the first place I went, they had it. And I didn't expect it to be all that. I've had a lot of I actually like the sandwiches and food at 7-Eleven in general. I like their hot dogs. Okay. I like their chicken salad sandwiches. So it's not like I'm a snob about their sandwiches. I was very curious to try this Thanksgiving. This, by the way, what you're referring to is the winner of the surprisingly good item of the year category presented by Jesus Nice, was the Thanksgiving turkey sub from 7-Eleven. And it seems like such a good idea. I don't know why somebody else didn't come up with this idea. Basically, what has it?
Is Quick Check national? Or is that?
We have a Quick Checks around here. They have some. Yeah,
it's the same thing as 7-Eleven. It's just
is it?
Quick Check.
Okay. They have, basically what they did, the real innovation in my mind was they made the bun out of stuffing. So all the stuffing, the flavor of the bun tasted like a big piece of stuffing, which is something that I've never seen anywhere else. I thought that was great. And then you have your turkey and you had some cranberry mayo on it. And this sandwich was remarkably good. It's the best prepackaged sandwich I've ever eaten. And everybody who tried it based on my recommendation agreed. So it was a real stunner and I guess it only comes out seasonally, so we won't see it again until next Thanksgiving. But that was a real surprise and a real find. I'm glad that I had a couple of them. And also, somebody told me you could toast them too. You toast them like on a waffle iron or a panini press or whatever. They're also apparently great.
But you know what the most important thing is with any sandwich, I feel, is the bread. The bread is what makes everything, honestly. I mean, you could have, say you get like a chicken parm sub, right? The breaded chicken could be really good. The sauce could be really good, perfect amount of cheese, but you get a shitty roll and it's like, nah, this is not so good. Like one that's like doughy and chewy, but like you get a great roll, even subpar breaded chicken on that is amazing.
I agree with you. It's totally true. And then I should also add another kind of bread I don't like is bread that is really hard and scrapes up the top of your mouth.
Oh my God.
Like it was Captain Crunch. And that's real trendy. Like, especially when you go to sandwiches, places like fancier places that serve sandwiches, they often have it on kind of a harder bread, which is like an artisan bread and it scrapes up the top of your mouth. And it's hard enough that when you bite on the sandwich, you squish it down, stuff squirts out the sides. Yeah. I don't know why people persist in doing that, but I don't like it.
Well, that's one thing then we could touch on where, do you rate it like the show Chopped, where they rate by like taste, presentation, and ingredients? So like if something's really good, but it squirts and gets ketchup on your hand, does that like negate points? Like, God damn it, like now I have to clean up. It does, right?
Yeah, that's what kept the Taco Bell Cantina tacos off the STEAMIE Awards this year. Those, I don't know if you guys had those, but they were only out for like a month. And they were basically just kind of like regular Taco Bell tacos, except on these custom fried shells. Like the shells were like these light tortillas that were so crispy that they fried just for you, and they were so good. Like they were absolutely delicious. But the problem is the shell, as soon as you started eating it, the shell all just shattered. So I had to eat it standing in the parking lot. Like I knew it was going to ruin my car. So I ate it standing in the parking lot of 7-Eleven as the stuff just kind of fell out of my hands onto the ground. But those were delicious.
Do you go through a situation where you eat like this for like a week or two and then have to eat healthy to balance it out for another week? Yeah, like detox, or do you just?
I don't know. I don't really eat healthy anytime. Like when I'm not eating, like people are like, "Do you eat fast food for every meal?" No, I mean I don't go there. It's inconvenient to go to fast food. At least for me, it takes an effort. So I have fast food maybe once a week, but the rest of the time I'm having like frozen pizzas and stuff like that and hamburgers. So it's not like I'm eating healthy the other times either. But I do eat like. I generally have kind of a healthier breakfast and lunch, if that makes any difference. Like I do have, I have like. Some healthy cereal, and then I have like some sort of soup generally. I don't like to have a big lunch because if I'm trying to work or trying to write, it makes me kind of tired and I get sleepy and it doesn't work so well. So in general, I don't eat a lot of huge meals, but I don't eat healthy very frequently either.
Did you develop a taste? Because when you're in like a studio recording like music and you're doing like songs and it takes hours and like the quick fix is just fast food. Did you guys do that writing when you're just in a writer's room?
Yes. Oh my God. I think I must have told you about this last time, but I'll repeat it if I didn't. That was the only entertainment we had was the food. And the Simpsons, right? When I'm talking about in 1992, 1993, 1994 at the Simpsons, this was the era before cell phones. So you didn't have a phone to like scroll through and entertain yourself, look at messages, look at Twitter, whatever. There's nothing to do except maybe read the newspaper or smoke, which Swartzwelder and I both did in the room until they banned that in 1994. So like there was no entertainment, no distraction all day long. It was just work, work, work. So lunch took on this outsized role. Like the ordering, like where are we going to go today? What restaurant are we going to order from? Because you get someone to bring it in. And so a lot of discussion of the menu, a lot of obsessing over that. And then when the lunch comes, you don't want to just have a sandwich. You want like an appetizer, you want an entree, you want a dessert. Like some people would order one guy ordered a whole pie, occasionally would order a whole pie and put it in the fridge and have a piece of the pie every hour or so all afternoon. And not only that, but also in the next room, there was basically a snack room. There was like coffee, refrigerator filled with sodas and stuff, and also Oreos, M&Ms, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's how you would distract yourself. And after I left The Simpsons, I lost 65 pounds, and I'm not the only one. Like a lot of people got really fat working at The Simpsons, and then when they left, they got far slimmer. I'm not that slim now, but at the time, I was far fatter, and I lost a lot of that weight because I wasn't just eating all day to entertain myself.
Jeez. Now on the Simpsons, Arby's seems to get a bad rap, and I know it
Oh boy.
the last
Okay.
time. Now
I gotta talk about this.
I will. So
I didn't
you
have
gave
anything
it
to do with
fast.
that.
You gave it fast food sandwich of the year. So I know you were. I don't know if you were on the show when Das Bus came out, where they were like, "I'm so hungry."
No.
You weren't, right?
And that wasn't. Boy, this thing has is such a thorn in my side. The anti-Arby's thing. I'll tell you two things about this. Okay, first of all, Arby's has a bad reputation due to two things. Due to the Simpsons making fun of it and Jon Stewart making fun of it. Jon Stewart on the Daily Show made fun of it all the time. And the reason is, and I'll tell you the reason, I did a video about this, is because the name is funny. The name Arb gets a laugh, Arby's. Burger King, which is far more deserving of being made fun of, just doesn't sound funny when you say Burger King. When you say Arby's, it's like, it's funny. It's like saying pickle. It's like one of those things like Krusty would teach you in Krusty's Clown School. That's a funny word. It's like Cucamonga, Arby's. It's a funny word. So you make fun of Arby's. In that script, we've been trying to figure out who made that joke for years, because every time I post anything about Arby's, I'm bombarded with that thing. I'm so hungry I could eat Arby's from Das Bus. Josh and I were not there, or if we were there, we were only there for an hour that week or whatever. And you attribute the joke to David Cohen. I asked David Cohen to look at his first draft. His joke was not about that. His joke initially was like, I could eat a birthday cake with no frosting or something was the initial joke. So in the rewrite somewhere, somebody pitched, I'm so hungry, I could eat Arby's. We don't know who, but that person is responsible for that, is greatly responsible for that. And in any case, so.
Wait, if you were in the room at that time, would you have not wrote that in? You would have put an X.
I probably would have put it in, but I wasn't a big fan of Arby's at that time. I didn't eat at Arby's either. And I didn't even start eating at Arby's frequently until I started this career as a fast food person 4 years ago. And then I went to Arby's and I was like, this place is really good. Like, they got a lot of different stuff that you don't find at other fast food places. Everything I've had there is good. And they have a wide variety of things. Yeah, their curly fries, their crinkle fries are also excellent. And they have their sandwiches, the roast beef and cheddar, the gyro I hear is great, the mozzarella sticks. There's so many things there. So like, I love Arby's. And honestly, I think you're building your way up to fast food sandwich of the year in this conversation. It won fast food sandwich of the year, and never has there been so much dissent. Like normally the sandwich of the year is very clear, because it's like, for instance, it'd be Popeye's chicken sandwich. Everybody heard about it. Everybody had it, universally acclaimed. But this year, I gave the award to Arby's crispy fish sandwich, which not only does it come from Arby's, the much derided Arby's, it's also a fish sandwich, and it's also only available part of the year because most fast food places just bring out their fish things for Lent.
Yeah.
Right.
So this sandwich was so good, and it really surprised me. And it was better than Popeyes had a Cajun flounder sandwich too that got a lot of attention. This was better than that. It has the fish is incredibly, remarkably crispy. Fish is very flaky and flavorful, and there's a delicious sort of Swedish tartar sauce on there. So a lot of people were like, "You got to be kidding! Is this a joke?" And I was like, "No." And in fact, so I went again a week. They brought it back, perhaps because of me. Who knows? They brought it back suddenly for a couple of weeks, and I went and tried it again. And I had two of them, and I stand by my statement: Arby's crispy fish sandwich, best sandwich of the year, and one of the best fast food sandwiches I've ever had.
Brian and our friend Minx used to love Arby's, and I used to be a Burger King guy. So like, there was a big split between our friends. We had the Arby's affiliates and the BK buddies, and it was a very heated rivalry. And for someone like you to say Arby's is good, I'm starting to rethink my stance.
No. You cannot backtrack. There's too much damage.
There's too much damage that's done. But you're right. You don't think you know what happened? I went to Arby's a couple times, and the soda out of the fountain was flat, and it just ruined it. It absolutely ruined it for me. Now, what's the craziest thing you ordered overseas that you were recommended? That you ordered and you did like and didn't like? I know that the can of the year that was from Australia, right?
Yes, some of the stuff I ordered, some of the stuff so I'll say the good stuff. I got it's hard to even list. I got so much good stuff. People are so generous. Mainly people from English speaking countries, obviously from Canada, Ireland, the UK and Australia send me a lot of stuff. I've had a lot of potato chips. I've had a lot of things. The thing the candy that I liked most was actually the guy who sent me a whole bunch more of them. Was the Chomp Bar, which is kind of like, it's almost like if you imagine one of those things of a Kit Kat, one of those bars of a Kit Kat, much bigger, but with caramel inside it as well. It's very, very good. And I've never had,
Where's
like,
that
I
from?
think it's from Australia. There's like, it's a pretty normal can. It's not nothing unusual about it, but like, I'm surprised we don't have anything like that here. So that was great. The thing that, in general, there's only one thing that somebody sent me that I never ate. And I'll tell you this, so I say it's the worst. It's surströmming. Have you guys ever heard of surströmming?
No, what's that?
I think it's from Sweden. And it's this fish, it's fermented, rotten, I don't know if it's Vermont, it's fermented fish.
Ew.
And it comes in a can, and it's renowned as one of the smelliest foods in the world. And it's like one of those things that's famous, like it shows what a tough, like, Viking type you are in Sweden, that you would eat your surströmming. And somebody sent it to me, and the thing is, it has so many things about it. Like, you can't open it in the house. If you open it in the house, your house will smell like rotten fish forever. So you got to open it outside. And also you got to open it in a bucket of water, under the water, so you don't get infected with the smell. And like, at a certain point, I was just like, this is too complicated. I left it in my fridge until it expired, and I threw it away. So that was the only thing I didn't try. And it was probably, I'm glad I didn't try it. Maybe someday, but I don't want to have to go through all those. I don't have to go those precautions to avoid smelling like rotten fish for 6 months.
Can you imagine how hated you'd be if you went to the community pool and did that? Open it up underwater while people were inside.
You just toss it in the water.
Yeah, you're banned for life here. So what?
I gotta say, hold on before we go on. There was one thing, Bill. I don't know if you've ever had this happen, where as a kid, right? Do you remember Doritos 3Ds?
Yeah, they still have those, or they're back at least.
Hold on.
Brought them right back.
When we were kids, I remember I would always go to the store. I would get the giant bag of Doritos 3Ds, regular nacho cheese, right? And I would get like a 2-liter bottle of wild cherry Pepsi. Greatest combination in the world.
How were you 500 pounds?
I don't know. This didn't happen. So I absolutely loved them. It was my favorite snack of all time. I would always get it, right? And I remember, I would say maybe I was in 6th grade. And for some reason, Frito-Lay discontinued making Doritos 3Ds.
Yes.
Probably one of their most popular products that they've ever had, right? So they stopped making them. You could go on eBay, you could find them, stuff like that. And when was it? 2 years ago? 2 years ago. I saw an advertisement, Doritos 3Ds, they're coming back. I got so excited. The day they come out, I go to the store, I'm walking down the chip aisle, and I see the bag. And I go, all right, it's a white bag. Whatever, not a big deal. I get them, but I don't really read the back, right? So I bring them home, I take them out, I start eating them, and these things are like hot. And I'm like, why are they hot? Why are they spicy? They were never like this. They completely ruined them. So I look at the bag and it says chili cheese nacho. And I'm like, why would you do this? I was so furious.
It was chili cheese nacho Doritos 3D?
Yeah, that's what they are now. They have chili cheese ranch and chili cheese nacho. Like, what's the point?
Wow. I didn't know that. That's weird.
Yeah, Bill's got to try them now. Like
I do. I kind of.
They're not bad. They're not bad. They're the same quality. They have the same quality, like the puffed, that puffed quality to it, like texture and everything is the same. But that flavor, because of the spice, it just ruined it. At least for me.
Yeah, because I'm great at segueing, I'll go into what Brian said. Continuing, is there anything that was discontinued from a fast food joint that you wish they brought back that you had years ago?
McRib.
Well,
with that too.
I got a lot of them, but I'll tell you the number one thing and the most obvious thing that everyone would agree with is the double-decker taco from Taco Bell. Double-decker taco was that thing. It was taco, but then you pasted, there was a flour tortilla pasted to the outside with a layer of refried beans, right? And this was my favorite thing at Taco Bell. It was many people's in the top of their list, and they discontinued it early on in the pandemic when they really radically reduced the size of their menu. But now they're back. They brought everything back. They've never brought that back. I know that they're going to probably bring it back with some fanfare at some point, but that is the number one thing that I wish that they would bring back. Also, there was about 7 years ago, McDonald's was doing these wraps.
Oh my God, I was just going to say that. The snack wraps.
Yes. Well, no, the snack wraps were the small ones. They also had these bigger ones. They were kind of like pita type sandwiches. And they had one that had like sweet Thai chili chicken or something like that in there. I love that one. And it was actually apparently fairly healthy for fast food. So like that one, I guess it was a huge pain to make and it wasn't profitable. But that was the other thing that I think of frequently when I think of fast food items. And then there's also the McDLT. The McDLT has a special place. You guys are probably all too young to remember.
I've actually, sometimes when I'm bored, I read discontinued items on like Google. And that's one that's on there, along with like the McDonald's pizza they tried in the 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. The McDLT was a sandwich where it came in two parts, the hot side and the cold side. And the whole point was you're going to keep the hot side hot and the cold side cold. So the cold side had the lettuce, tomato, and the cheese, interestingly, was on the cold side, which I liked. Many people didn't like. And it came in this huge styrofoam container. It was so environmentally unfriendly that I think that's part of the reason they got rid of it, because it was so much styrofoam. But it was the best sandwich of all time at McDonald's. However, now they have something that's just as good, which is the Quarter Pounder Deluxe. It's a quarter pounder, but it has lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise on it. It's essentially the same thing, except that the lettuce and tomato come out warm because they're on the sandwich. But it tastes better because they now use the fresh beef and all that stuff, you know.
Well, and Brian said that they brought back the 3D nachos and he was expecting the regular and they ruined them. Is there anything they brought back that the taste was just different from when you remembered it and it just ruined it for you?
Oh, that's a good question.
Because to me, it was, Brian mentioned, to me, it was the McRib. When they brought the McRib back. I don't like food I can't eat while I'm driving. I need to be able to eat it. So if I have to pull over and eat, I'm out. Well,
you can eat McRib, but you'll get dribbled on. That's the thing. Like, it's hard to eat it. It's also hard to eat. Even a Big Mac, it's hard to eat. You got to go like this, and the shredded lettuce is going to drop all over you.
Yeah.
But I will say I don't have an answer to that because I haven't found anything that they brought back that I didn't like. However, I did find stuff that I loved that I forgot that I loved. The most notable one being that original chicken Parmesan sandwich from Burger King. Yeah. It
was good.
They had that in the 1970s, and they brought it back sporadically. I think the last time was like 15 years ago. But they brought it back this year. It's that long piece of chicken on a long sub roll, but with the Parmesan, with the tomato sauce and the mozzarella cheese. It's really good, and it's not good in a way that modern fast food is good, but it was the best thing on the menu in 1979. And I remember it fondly.
Now, here in New Jersey, Brian could vouch for this too. Chick-fil-A is never not busy. Lines.
Overrated.
We'll get to that. Like, do you think, what's the most overrated establishment that you think is out there as a whole? Like, if you had to eliminate one establishment, one of the major players, you could never eat anything from there again, what would you pick off of your list forever?
It would probably be Chick-fil-A, although it might be In-N-Out Burger. Both of them are both Chick-fil-A and In-N-Out Burger have a reputation that was generated 25, 30 years ago when the fast food market was very different. And like, there's no question that In-N-Out Burger was the best fast food burger available from like 1948 to 2005. But now it's solidly in the middle of the pack, and it's not worth waiting an hour in line for. People wait hours in line. But however, if there's no line, it's good. The price is good. It's always a good burger, but it doesn't deserve. It's not worth a wait. Period. Chick-fil-A, in my opinion, has the same thing, because Chick-fil-A was only in the South until like about 8 years ago when they started expanding all over the place. We have them here now. It's the same thing. Yes, there's always a line. However, and I have repeatedly confirmed this, it does not compare to Popeyes. None of the chicken offerings are nearly as good as any of the chicken stuff at Popeyes, which doesn't have a line. And so like, I've had the sandwich multiple times. I've had the chicken nuggets multiple times, and they are very good, but they don't deserve a huge line. They're not worth a long wait, especially if there's a Popeyes anywhere nearby.
The worst is when I'm driving and I forget it's Sunday and there's no line at Chick-fil-A, and I'm like, wow, maybe I should go now. And I'm like, oh, shit, they're not open. That's happened to me a few times, actually.
I like their food, but it's not worth a wait. It's not worth a call.
I agree with that.
I remember, Scott, you remember there was a mall by us in the town called Woodbridge, and they used to have a Chick-fil-A in the Woodbridge Mall. Yeah. And like, I remember walking past it. It wasn't even in the food court. It was just like way in the back. Yeah, and I would always look at it. There would never be anyone there. And I'm like, how does that place stay in business? I never see anyone buying food there ever. And then they went out of business and I laughed about it. I was like, oh, that Chick-fil-A place is gone. And then what? Like 10 years later, now it's literally like you drive by one at any time of day and there's just cars down the road. And you're like, when did this happen?
Yeah. I remember this because I used to see it in malls all the time. The entire time I was growing up, I never once ate there. It was never crowded. It didn't have this cult following or this romantic reputation that it suddenly has, that it now apparently has. And so people like the drive-throughs are well managed though. Both In-N-Out, I will say this, both In-N-Out and Chick-fil-A have that thing where people stand in the drive-through with clipboards and crap, and it goes fast, and they're far better managed than most drive-throughs. Yeah,
no, you're right about that. Now, before we get to what's behind you, what you haven't eaten yet, and what you have in store for 2022, you once posted that I think it was you found Wendy's spicy chicken Pringles, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that is awesome, and I actually saw it and found them as well, and I bought them just because they're on your Instagram story, and they did somewhat taste like a spicy chicken sandwich from Wendy's. It was amazing.
They were good. They were good.
What's another random thing you found being out by yourself and not sent to you that was like very surprisingly good?
Chuck E. Cheese frozen pizza.
Yes.
Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E. Cheese has a bad reputation for being a messy place filled with kids' snot and and just like it's a germ factory with kids running around and has shitty food. However, they went bankrupt at the beginning of the pandemic, and most of them were closed, although I think some have reopened. They started making frozen pizzas. And I was shocked. Like, I wouldn't say they're the best frozen pizzas I've ever had, but for a really regular pizza, like here's a cheese pizza, here's a pepperoni pizza, they were both remarkably good. They were on the Steam. They were first runner-up for surprisingly good item of the year.
Yeah. Chuck E. Cheese always had good pizza, though. When we were younger, it was like the only thing for. You can't really go there.
Did they give you an even amount of slices? Did you ever see the thing on that? Where like at every Chuck E. Cheese, what they do is like, let's say us three go in separately and we all order pizzas, right? And I eat 6 slices, Scott eats 4 slices, Bill, you have 6 slices, right? So now they'll take those 3, everything that's left over, and they'll build them into a new pizza to give to someone, and they reheat it.
Oh my God, do they really do that?
Yeah, look it up. It's a thing about whenever anyone got a pizza at Chuck E. Cheese, the slices were never even. Like, it was never evenly cut. So it made people question and say, like, are you piecing together pizzas from old pizzas?
Phenomenal.
That's amazing. Wow, I will look that up.
And I'm also mad. Yeah, I'm also mad, Brian, that you didn't think I could eat 6 slices with both of you. But I digress.
I'll tell you the good thing that I found just last week, and it just came out. This was the best thing I've had this year by surprise, was this new Doritos. The Doritos Flamin' Hot Cool Ranch, where they're Cool Ranch flavored, but they also have the Flaming Hot stuff on them. I would say they're my second favorite American Dorito, after the Tapatio ones. And so like if you see those, they just came out. You can find them definitely at 7-Eleven, at some grocery stores. Check those out too.
How much do you try to avoid making something really simple your winner? Like if the best condiment of the year for you is just like a plain type ketchup or mustard, is that hard to do because the awards you want to be something different?
That's a great question. Well, the runner-up is it's always the condiment, it's mayonnaise. This year, the runner-up for the best condiment was mayonnaise, was Blue Plate mayonnaise. So in general, something really simple is not going, well, not necessarily so, but it's rare for me to find, for instance, a new ketchup that I haven't already tried that would win the award. So, I'm not opposed to allowing that to happen, but it just doesn't seem to happen that much.
All right. Yeah, that's fair. I guess that's fair. All right, Bill, what do you have behind you right now? Explain, please.
Okay. So if you're watching the video here, you see this is the stuff I have not yet gotten to, that people have sent me from all over the world. And it's actually about 60% potato chips and chip-like things. There's there's a number of some American chips, some Australian chips, some Canadian chips, some Korean chips, and also these things. There's some popcorn from Hawaii. Oh, there's these. Somebody told me these are really good. These are from Alaska. Kelp pickles. Apparently kelp makes really good pickles. I never knew, and so I'm excited to try these. These are some. Now this, I ordered these because I saw them online. The canned peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. So these are supposed to be. They come in these plastic cans, so they can be sold in Coke machines. You know.
Wow.
And they last for. They have a shelf life of like 2 or 3 years. And there can't. Now this is what's disappointing about these. Unfortunately, is this? It's not a sandwich. It's a sandwich kit. So you get it, and there's a wooden thing, like one of those wooden spoons you get for ice cream in there, and there's a little packet of peanut butter, and there's a little packet of jelly, and it comes on like a whole wheat pita type bread, which is also a big disappointment. So these were. I didn't even review these because they were such a colossal disappointment. Although I still might. I got. Let's see what it's here. I got some. This is good. Haggis. You know, if you're familiar with haggis, which is one of the famous Scottish dish, which is what is it? It's like offal boiled in a lamb's stomach or whatever. I'm excited to try these haggis chips.
Is that a Willie groundskeeper Willie throwback reference?
Yes, it is.
Copy into haggis. What's haggis?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think, and then I have other stuff over here. I have a lot of hot sauces over here. I have a lot of stuff in the kitchen. I got sodas and things like that. So it's definitely an adventure to work my way through these things. And I don't like, some of them I look forward to, others not quite so much, but I always want to give them a try.
Yeah. Well, before we let you go, Bill, because I know you have to go soon. What do you have planned for 2022? How are you planning on knocking out these chips and sandwiches? How are you going to hit them up? Once a month, twice a month? You're going to do fast food first? And are you going to have any new award categories maybe this year?
The categories are definitely going to be new. I shuffle them up every year. I'm thinking about this year also having, rather than having celebrities, having viewers do it. Just like, people, guys off the street, if they can come with an interesting thing, like some guy who's doing it skydiving or some guy doing it at the Grand Canyon. Like I'd like to have some visually interesting ones from viewers maybe this year presenting the awards. I might do that. And I've also been doing this year, just for kicks, I've been doing these TikTok style videos. My last two and my one that I'm posting tomorrow are just nuts. Like, I don't know if you guys have TikTok, but many of the videos on TikTok are just crazy. Like there's music and there's all sorts of crazy shit going on. So I've just been doing that. For my last 3 reviews, I've been doing TikTok style reviews that are loaded to the brim with just crazy shit, while still having my usual review. So I'm going to do a little more of and also Instagram promotes them. Like, interestingly, Instagram is always like, there's always some algorithm shit going on Instagram. Like my regular videos get a certain number of viewers, but when I do these, it gets twice as many viewers. Like, because they promote, Instagram wants you to use Reels, which is their TikTok ripoff. Nice. So if you do a Reel, the algorithm picks it up, and it always gets twice as many viewers as my regular stuff. So I'm doing that. I might take a trip. Oh, here's some other news. I might take a trip. I'm considering going to Idaho, which is 6 hours away, because Idaho is the nearest place that has all the fast food restaurants that we don't have here, like Culver's and In-N-Out and all sorts of other ones that we don't have. We do have In-N-Out here, but I'm considering doing a drive like that and maybe having it be like an event on my Instagram. We're also writing a book about this topic, about snack foods. And I'm just started on that. So there's going to be a lot of, and here lastly, I'm appearing on other TV. I've become the kind of food celebrity who gets to appear on TV shows talking about stuff. Good. So I'm going to be on Somebody Feed Phil when he comes to Portland. And I filmed that last year. And actually, my other favorite show besides Better Call Saul is this show called The Food That Built America.
That's a great show. Channel. That's a phenomenal show.
I love it. I've seen it. I'm glad you watch it. Yeah. Okay, cool. So I'm going to be one of those people next year. I already filmed a whole bunch of segments about everything from like Carvel, Dunkin' Donuts and stuff, and Pop Secret popcorn, Orville Redenbacher. I did a lot of discussion of a lot of different topics, and I'll be hopefully fairly frequently appearing in next season.
No, that's a great show, Bill. That's awesome. Once again, the STEAMIE Awards, awesome. I'm glad that we linked up last year. It's cool to keep in touch with you. Brian and I are huge fans. So
thank you, guys.
No, no problem, man. Thanks for coming on, spending a Saturday morning with us two knuckleheads. So, yeah, if there's nothing else, Brian, Bill, thank you very much, man. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks so much.
It's always my pleasure to be here, guys, and I'm happy to continue advertising your show with your T-shirt as well. I love it. All right, so thank you guys once again for having me. Check out the STEAMIE Awards and other videos at that Bill Oakley on Instagram, everybody.